Dear students, have you ever felt when your mother had pulled your ear that she is actually pulling a connective tissue called as the cartilage? Or someone has teased you by pulling your nose tip? That person is also just pulling your cartilaginous tissue. So, today we will study these two types of the skeletal tissues, cartilage and bone. So, as we have just seen, in the earlobe, at the tip of the nose, in our sound box, that is larynx, and in between the vertebrates, there is present cartilaginous tissue that is softer than bone and tougher than muscle. Tougher than muscle. So, the name of the tissue is cartilage. So, whenever we cut the section of, suppose this is the ear, and we cut the section or a part of this ear, it will show us the internal structure of the cartilage. So, as we have enlisted the features of the connective tissue, that the cartilage is also being filled with a ground substance which is called as the matrix. This is the matrix, and the matrix of cartilage is rich in proteins and sugar. So it's called as the organic matter, proteins and sugar. It has got some amount of calcium also, but very less amount. Majority it has got protein and sugar. That's why it is quite flexible. Within the cartilage matrix, there are certain spaces. These spaces are called as lacuna. Spaces are called as lacuna, and within the lacuna are present cartilaginous cells, mostly in the group of 2. They are present. These are all the cartilaginous cells, and there is a particular name given to these cartilage cells, chondrocytes. They are called as chondro. Chondro means cartilage related, chondrocytes. Cytes mean cells. So this is the general structure of cartilage. It has got a ground substance rich in protein and sugar that make it more flexible as compared to the bone. It has got certain spaces called as the lacuna. Within the lacuna are present the cells called chondrocytes in the group of 2 or 4 themselves. Now the next tissue that is more tougher as compared to the cartilage, that is the bone. So how many bones are, what is the number of the bones present in human body? We all are familiar, 206. So these bones, they not only provide a structural framework to our body, but it also protects, it gives the structural framework to the body, and it also protects our vital organs like heart, lungs, etc. So it provides protection to these vital organs in our body, also support the body itself. So a long bone is having such type of the structure. It has got a fatty material in it. The fatty material present in the long bones is called as the bone marrow. It is called as bone marrow. So bone marrow is the site for the formation of blood. So blood cells are mainly formed in the bone marrow. So it's a very important part in our bone. So if we cut section of the bone, again we form it as a circular outline. It has got a cavity inside it. That cavity is called as marrow cavity, in which the yellow color bone marrow is present. So this is the main part of the bone, long bones. that is filled with a matrix. So just like cartilage, it has also got a matrix, ground substance. But in cartilage, the ground substance or the matrix was rich in proteins and sugar. But in this case, the matrix is rich in calcium and phosphorus that make it more brittle as compared to the cartilage. So here it is rich in protein and sugar. Here the matrix is rich in calcium and phosphorus. So within the matrix are present canals. These are not spaces bounding the cells, but they are the empty canals. These canals are called as Haversian canals. After the name of the discoverer, they are called as Haversian canals. Now these Haversian canals houses blood vessels and nerves. Now what is the meaning of this? Bone is a very tough tissue and we can't enter the blood vessels and nerves in this tough tissue. So these are the empty spaces. These are the canals through which the blood vessels and the nerves enter into the blood vessels, and the nerves, they enter into the bone so as to nourish the bony material. So around these Haversian canals, we found the concentric rings of cells arranged like this. Rings of the cells. They are surrounding they are encircling the Haversian canals, and within these rings are present special cells which are called as osteocytes. These cells are called as osteocytes. So here the cartilaginous cells were called as chondrocytes and the bony cells are called as osteocytes. Now each osteocyte is just like this, having a nucleus, and it has got long processes, and the processes are surrounded by these canal-like invaginations of the lacuna. The space around the cell is called as lacuna. Here also the space around the cells were called as the lacuna. But that lacuna was blunt in this case, having no extensions. But here the lacuna has got extensions around the cellular process. These extensions are called as canaliculi. My dear students, this explanation is mandatory because these words are given in the book. So please try to understand the meaning of this. In the case of the bone, the cells are present around the Haversian canals, and these cells are called as osteocytes. And each cell has got an extension of the lacuna. The space is called as the lacuna, and this lacuna has got extensions around the cellular processes of osteocytes. These extensions are called as canaliculi. So this is the basic structure of the bone. So there is a one task given in the book that differentiate the cartilage and the bone, and I hope that with this table, with this diagram, you can easily differentiate. Cartilage is softer tissue, bone is harder tissue. Cartilage has got a matrix that is rich in protein and sugar. Bone has matrix that is rich in calcium and phosphorus. There is no marrow cavity inside the cartilage. Bone has got the marrow cavity which contain bone marrow. There are no Haversian canals, but here the Haversian canals which houses blood vessels and nerves are there. The cells of cartilage are called chondrocytes. The cells of bone are called osteocytes. Chondrocytes are surrounded by a blunt space called lacuna, whereas the osteocytes are surrounded by lacuna having canaliculi in them. So please do study the diagram make the diagram with your hand so that you can tabulate the differences. In the next part, we will do the rest of the connective tissue.